Let's go.
Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me, Rob. Let's get the show on the road.
I told you already, it's not a mobile show, goddammit. We can't move on the road.
I'm on the move. I'm in the kayak.
Moving. I'll tell you who's not moving, who should be. That's Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go over a lot of that here today, guys. As it was announced today that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are staying. We're going to go over all the important news as far as that. What does that mean for the OCs? A couple comments that John Mara gave that are definitely head scratchers, to say the least. We're going to talk about, some other things such as people we should keep or not keep that are free agents coming up, because we got some big decisions to make up here with a couple of guys here. May not have a Daniel Jones or a Saquon Barkley this offseason, guys. We still got some decent players, so we got to make decisions on here. And we also signed 5 players here to reserve futures deals. So let's get right into it. The big news of the day, obviously. And as I said, it's the fact that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are retained by the Giants. And you can look at that tombstone and kind of figure out exactly what our thoughts are on it right off the bat here. It's not positive. It's not positive at all. I mean, you look at the whole thing, it just, like I said, it makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. You go from 9 wins to 6 wins to 3 wins. We're on pace for 0 wins next year, guys. We seem to be, going in thirds here. So I guess we're going for the winless season to get that number 1 pick and get Arch Manning. Maybe that's the plan after all, you Giant fans, to keep and save for the last 3 years.
Is it possible to get negative wins?
I think if it is, they're going to find a way to do it. That's for sure. The Giant statement on it. Now that our season is over, and this is, I should say, specifies specifically John Mara, but it was all over the Giants social media. Now that our season is over, we felt it necessary to make this statement. Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented and their vision for our team. We look forward to the future and achieving the results we all desire. Remain confident in the process. What process are we confident in, guys?
Losing.
We're very confident we're going to continue to lose the way we're building up a team the right way from the ground up. We just have to get to the ground still, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
We're like 1 inch above the ground. We have just a little more to go, and then we can start building up. I mean, at what point do you go, this doesn't seem to be working out, guys? Like, how many losing seasons does it take? How many less wins does it take? I mean, I just don't get it. Like, what would have been the barrier? Like, okay, we can't stand for this. Like, we went winless in the division, 0-6. We literally tied for the worst record in all of the NFL. It would have had the worst record if it wasn't for one fluke of a game against a Colts team that got bombarded by their ex-punter Pat McAfee there. It's like, at what point do we go, we can't do this. This ain't working. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it at all. Like, I would love for someone to make a comment on this and go, hey, this makes sense because of X, Y, and Z. But I don't see any scenario where somebody does that and I go, yeah, that makes sense. You got a whole new quarterback coming into this room. Coming into this team here. You got some major money here. And like I said, there's a couple of free agents we got to talk about, but there's not a ton. This is a chance for us to get a real rebuild going. And instead of giving a brand new regime, a new GM, a new head coach a chance to go ahead and do this, you're going to have desperation by Calvin Klein, basically, all over the entire room, basically. And let's put it this way. Joe Schoen will force a quarterback pick. I'm going to say it right now. And if I'm wrong, I will eat the crow very gladly. But I think he will force a quarterback pick. I think they will also go ahead and spend free agency because Maris made it very clear that he needs to see change this year coming up, or else he will make the change. Which, by the way, it's the same thing he said last year. So,
Yeah.
It's a slap in the face to the fans, as far as I'm concerned. It's sitting there saying, you know what? I know we haven't won a damn thing in years. We look worse and worse each year, but you guys are still buying tickets and gear. You're good.
We just put up a new record. Our worst season ever.
Yep.
Come buy more tickets.
Exactly. We'll give you a small Coke next time.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, what the hell you got to do? I can't picture. Can you guys give me one thing besides the rookie class? That's the one good thing I'll give this year. Can anybody else give me one positive out of this year? Yeah.
We had 4 quarterbacks play, and Malik Nabers still somehow.
Nabers the rookie. I said the rookie class.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I'm saying you can't. And don't get me wrong, that's a very nice positive have. I'm really not trying to take that away because Joe Schoen and the scouts and all did an excellent job with this draft. But it doesn't make up for the 2 shitty ones they had before that. It doesn't make up for the fact that our free agents that we overpaid for aren't performing like you hoped. We talked about during the game, Brian Burns fought through a lot of injuries, played very good, I thought, this year overall. Little rough start, but played pretty good overall. And, again, we're paying him $30 million. He's not a $30 million player. John Runyon, we could throw in, you saw it in Hard Knocks. We're just throwing him extra money to come to the Giants. Throwing him extra money here. Oh, you want to go to the Jets? Here's $2 million extra to come to the Giants instead. Oh, Jermaine Illuminor, you want to go to the Cardinals? Here's $2 million extra to come here. Don't get me wrong, I like the Illuminor one, but John Runyon was such an overpay. It's not even funny. Such an overpay. And again, Brian Burns, great player. I'm not hating the player. He did a lot for the team this year. He fought hard through injuries. He's not a $30 million edge player. I'm sorry, he's not. 2025, sure. And I may not sound a lot on paper, but $5 to $10 million of cap space is a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
We were kind of wondering how we get this trade pulled off last year. We got to pull it off because nobody else is going to pay him $30 million a year probably for 9 sacks.
Yeah, it was funny because you said 2025. I thought you were talking about the year, not the salary.
Yeah, that's where he should be. That's where he should be. And again, it's not a knock on the player. He's a good player. I like having him. But we're paying him too much. We're overpaying players because nobody wants to come here. And why does nobody want to come here? Because we have a coach that had an epic failout last year. Then we get a GM who's been failing. Like that's what's going on here, guys. And it's gotten to the point now where you're gonna have a GM and a coach here that everybody knows is on the shortest, thinnest string known to man. And who's gonna want to come here now?
No, especially after how you treated DJ in this offseason, how you treated Drew Lock's contract and making him play. You put DeVito in first. You give this guy, Lock was supposed to be our guy. The Lock, get the number 2. Yeah. Like, kind of screwed him over on a sense.
Lock because Tyrod Taylor wouldn't come here, and Joe Schoen was such an inept GM. He had no clue that Tyrod Taylor didn't want to come back. That's a lack of leadership. If you don't even know your own player doesn't want to come back to play for you again, that's a total lack of leadership right there.
Yeah. You should know the feeling in your locker room, how it goes. Like hopefully he knows Singletary isn't happy with what's going on.
Well, Singletary's under contract. That's the difference with that one, but
yeah,
Singletary will probably be gone. I think they'll move on from him. He didn't perform.
I think so.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I just don't. There's been so many mistakes. And we talked about it leading up to the season. Every single thing that you and I were worried about came to fruition this season. Every single thing. Which is sad because we were hoping a couple of them would, a couple of them wouldn't, obviously. But what did we say going into the season? We said, we don't have a legit competition for Daniel Jones. And if he falls down, we're in deep trouble. Guess what? He fell down.
Yeah. And we went into deep trouble.
We said, going into this, we said our defensive line is really weak besides Dexter Lawrence. And we said, God damn, if we're going to have an issue stopping the run, this is going to be why. And guess what? We had an issue stopping the run because we had a weak defensive line. We said, you can't force Deonte Banks to be cornerback number 1 when he's not ready. And he's shown you nothing to show that he is ready. Yeah. And that's going to be an issue, barring any kind of surprises. Well, guess what? That was a goddamn issue. So when you got two people that literally called themselves freaking goofballs, telling you this is the issues, you need to address these issues.
Who's the real goofball?
Seriously, maybe we should call 3 and invite Joe on the show.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Just saying. Like that's where I'm at here at this point. Because these were such obvious problems. Now, I wouldn't say we're casual fans. We're pretty avid fans. Obviously, we do the show, 3-4 times a week. We follow every single thing going on with Giants. So, but don't tell me that people in the front office don't have more access to stuff than we do. Don't tell me that people in the front office should be better skilled at developing a roster than we are. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
100%.
So, I guess we're doomed for another bad season, guys. That's what I feel like at this point. And maybe it's just me being negative because the immediate impact, so to speak, of this whole thing. But I can't help but be extremely negative right now. And I don't want to be. I don't like being that fan. I don't like being that guy for y'all to be listening to at that point either and spreading negativity. We want to spread positivity in this world. But it's really hard right now.
Oh, 100%. Like, we got negative news today. Like, we don't want to be negative, but we got negative news. Like, oh, the coach in the first year that got you 9 wins did that the next 2 years. Like, you're supposed to improve as a coach. All right, if you say stagnant, that's one thing. But you literally are on a slippery slope downwards.
Yes.
You literally went from 9-6-3. If it was the other way around, it would be ecstatic.
Oh, yeah.
Even like
it's a concerns year 1, but like, okay, things are improving. Things are going in the right direction.
Yeah. Or even at 6-3-9, like the highest number shouldn't be first. The lowest number shouldn't be the last. Figure it out any other way.
Yeah.
We would still be happy as fans. We'd be like, all right, here, this and that. But like, you are getting worse every single year.
Everyone.
With better players.
Yeah. Well, and that's the question, really. When you say better players, I don't know if I can sit there and say this roster is better than it was 3 years ago. And the scary thing is, John Nabers did the same thing today. The man who decided to keep him. I'm really wondering, and listen, guys, I'll never know this. You'll never know this. None of us will ever know this. But I'm really wondering if the whole reason why these two schmucks are here still is because of the fact that they have 2 years left in their contract, and the Giants still want to keep paying for people that are under contract that aren't in the building anymore. They've done that before. They did it with Joe Judge. They did it with Ben McAdoo. They've done it with Pat Shermer. Like they've done this multiple times now. And I gotta wonder if that's the driving factor. And if it is, that's really sad because point blank, you don't pay a lot of money for head coaches and GMs compared to players. You see this now with the last couple of years now. Look at like Matt Ryan when he left the Falcons. Look at the massive hit they took. Look at, Russell Wilson when he left the Broncos, the massive hit they took. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. These owners are doing it to improve their team. That's what they're looking to do. They want to improve the team. And you're not willing to improve the team by getting rid of the head coach that has alienated all of his assistants, that has had worse and worse, record every single year, and the GM that publicly embarrassed this franchise multiple times. Whether it's the Saquon situation, the Daniel Jones situation, overpaying for free agents, bringing guys in that clearly weren't a fit. There's so many mistakes, it's not even funny. This didn't happen because of one mistake, guys. You don't get 3 and 14 by making one mistake. You get there by making multiple mistakes.
Compounded mistakes.
Yeah.
Not just multiple mistakes, but you made a mistake, and instead of trying to rectify and fix that mistake, you made another mistake trying to throw a Band-Aid over it, and then you made another mistake. And you only made that original mistake that was kind of bad, but not really that much worse.
At this point, it's not a Band-Aid. We got to get some gauze and tape it all up and just wrap it around it and just hope for the best.
Get some stitches and...
Oh, my gosh. All right, guys, let's get into your comments here before we move on to the rest of the topics we have in this. And we still have some more to talk about this topic specifically here, too, as well. So Dakota says, LOL. Of course, he's an Eagle fan, so, he's happy. John says, Mara is at it again. Save Daniel. Didn't work. Save these two. Didn't work. Our record will be 4 to 5 wins next year, tops. Got to get all O-line first. Trade back. Get picks for O-line. There's the problem. Do you really trust Joe Schoen to draft offensive linemen, guys? And don't get me wrong. Rob and I were happy we drafted JMS. Like, we're going to tell you that point blank. We're not going to sugarcoat our mistake that we made in that whole thing. But so we were flipping out. We got Josh Azudu. And when they got Marcus McKeithen, we're like, who, what? Like, that guy wasn't even on our radar.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's not even on the roster. He's off the roster already. I mean,
he got a little way too early.
I don't trust this group to evaluate offensive linemen at this point. Our best moves we made offensive lineman wise are Jermaine Illuminor and Greg Van Roden. Our big free agent John Runyon is being overpaid. I'm not even blaming him when I say that. He is exactly what he is. A very good very good pass blocker. That's not a very good run blocker at all. He's exactly as advertised. A guy that literally Green Bay took off the field at times his last season with them because he was that bad at run blocking. And we pay this guy top dollars. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. Dakota says keeping that GM should hire that kid in the video where he said, "Are we sure we're going to let Saquon go?" Listen, I'll hire anybody at this point over him. Kenneth Perkins, what's up, guys? What's up, man?
Howdy ho.
Deb says Mara is so confident that his patience is wearing thin. Does that even make sense? Yet he doesn't make any sense. And almost and we'll get to John Mara in a little bit here. But I'll say this. His comments were almost like he didn't want to keep them, which made no sense because he just made the decision to keep them.
You hit it on the head. Like, listen, he wants to talk about not giving people tries, giving the balance. But he also doesn't want to double pay for coaching.
I think that's what it is. I really do. The more and more I think about it, and that's sad. That's really sad. Like this is a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and you're worried about a contract that's going to be what, $5 million, $10 million. I don't look up to see what they're actually getting paid, but I'm just spitballing ideas out here. That's absolutely nothing. That's like the equivalent of like spending $5,000 in a small business. Which, don't get me wrong, I know it's a lot of money still, but you got to spend money to make money. That's life. That is life. Kenneth says Mara is got a loyal fan base. It's going to take the franchise. It's going to take the franchise to make a major stand. A fan base, I'm sorry, to make a major stand to get his attention. What would get his attention? Like perhaps like a plane carrying a banner?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Like I'm just.
No fans showing up to games.
Yeah, like. What would get his attention? Would it be tickets being $1 on StubHub? Like, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
What else could the fan base have done to show them how pissed off they are?
Yeah, I mean, nosebleeds to the past couple games were $20-$25.
Not even that. I'm telling you, you literally could have gotten them for less than $10.
I'm just saying, by the time you pay your charges and all that.
Oh yeah, you're okay. But I'm saying the tickets themselves.
But you talk about just a few years ago, those same tickets for $225.
Oh yeah, the fan base is fed up.
You're talking about 10,000 seats where you're making $200 less. It's a lot of money out of the Giants' revenue.
Yep, and I'm going to continue saying what we've been saying.
And they're not even filling them.
Yeah,
So,
I'm going to continue to say what we've been saying all along here. Until the Giants get their crap together, stop spending money, guys.
Don't spend your money on them.
Stop. Don't buy Giants gear. Don't buy jerseys. Don't buy hats. Don't buy tickets. Don't buy anything Giants related whatsoever. Don't go to the games. Let the training camps be empty. Send a message point blank to this whole ownership group that and if you show up to the training camp, sit outside in the parking lot to a Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah,
blaring as fast as
on an old style boombox being John Cusack.
We're not doing that. I was thinking more with a pair of 12-inch subs in the back of the car. Yeah. Oh my god, a little D Schneider there. But I'm just saying, like, it's just I don't know what else the fans could have done to send that message. I really don't. But I'll tell you, it's going to keep escalating. And I'm telling you right now, if this continues, I don't know if I expect them to even make the season.
I don't see how they would.
I don't see how they would. And that's why I'm saying, like, good luck getting coaches here. Good luck getting players here. Nobody's going to come play for this. It's a circus. You know what happens when you hire for a circus? You get clowns.
That's what's running the organization right now.
Yeah. Send in the clowns. Dakota says keep lock for a year. Hell's no. Hell's the no.
Yeah. Pass.
Dakota Nabers, but anyone would be good with that. Yeah, like I said, Nabers part of the rookie class. That's why I'm saying the only thing. The Imp says Burns was good. Again, good, not great. You're getting paid $30 million. You better be great. You better be absolutely amazing. You better be one of the top 5 edge rushers in the entire NFL, because that's how you're getting paid. So I think, unfortunately for Burns, somebody doesn't show up in the stat line because, again, he disrupts plays. He's very good in run defense. So I'm not here to knock him, but I'm not here to say he's also worth $30 million. I'm sorry, he's not.
No.
So,
you're paying $30 million on thinking that how great he's going to be, not how great he's played.
Yep. So the Imp says we didn't need Zeitler, Bredesen, or Feliciano. Well, let's see. Ben Bredesen, I'm curious right now where his PFF grade is. I know that's not the end all, but it's what you got for a lineman you should look at. 1 year away from the Giants, 56.2, 59.5 pass block, 53.6 run block. So, I mean, about what he was doing with us. So I can't say that was a big difference there. But how many linemen have we had like Feliciano that succeeded once they left? Like Will Hernandez. Zeitler was just a cluster. Like Zeitler and James Bradbury both were guys we let go because of Gettleman's stupid salary cap mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's part of my concerns right now, is that I'm worried that we're going to go down that path right now. Because Joe Shane's going to be on the phone with these agents saying, I have to win now. What does it take to get your client here?
Yeah.
And the agents know it. These guys are sharks. Blood is in the water, goddammit. Blood is in the water.
Joe Shane's going to have to be like, here's a checkbook. You tell me what you're writing. I'll sign it.
Yeah, like imagine you're a top flight corner. I say that because that's one of the positions we definitely need right now. And your agent goes, hey, the Giants are calling. I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know what's going on there. The guys won 3 games last year. GM head coach almost got fired, but they kept him. Why would I want to go there?
Because they're going to pay you $18 million.
But there's the legitimacy of the issue. You're going to overpay.
Yep.
And then as he also says, Julian Love obviously gone. McKinney, who literally led the league in interceptions.
McKinney.
Yeah. Deb says, I've heard the Giants had feelers out for head coaches and nobody wanted to take the job. Yeah, I mean, listen, it depends when you say nobody, who they put the feelers out to. Did they put the feelers out to like Mike Vrabel and people like that? Yeah, probably. I can see that. Mike Vrabel wants to go coach for the Patriots, to be very frank. He's gonna be a Patriot at the end of the day. There's no doubt in my mind. In fact, I think he took the Jets interview just to say to the Patriots, if you don't come get me, somebody else is gonna. I feel bad for Jets fans. That's what they're reduced to. The only team that's just about as bad as boat as we are. But like I said, tell me there's 32 teams in the NFL, guys. There are 32 head coaching jobs. I find it extremely difficult to believe that somebody would not want the job. Somebody who's better than Brian Daboll. Like let's put it out there. Like this is a guy who has failed multiple places as an offensive coordinator. Failed multiple places. Succeeded one because he got a quarterback that worked his tail off. And I'm sure he had a hand, and I'm not trying to take all the credit away from him. But again, we've talked about the show before. Josh Allen succeeded fine without him. Josh Allen had that drive to succeed without him. Brian Daboll didn't do that. Josh Allen did that. Brian Daboll had some help in it, but it was mostly Josh Allen. And when it boils down to it, if you go get a guy like Liam, over at Tampa Bay, the offensive coordinator there, like that's a guy who's developed quarterback. Liam Cohen has gone ahead and made Baker Mayfield like a freaking MVP this year almost.
Past couple, yeah.
Don't tell me a guy like that wouldn't be interested in this job. Especially if you tell him point blank, we're going to get you a quarterback, and we're going to let you pick your quarterback. Don't tell me that's not enticing.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't know who would or wouldn't. I didn't hear that myself. It doesn't shock me that's part of the equation. Usually when they make these decisions, you put the feelers out to see who's interested. But, yeah, Kenneth says, don't forget Singletary, Darius Slayton contract. They weren't a lot of money. They wasn't worth the money they paid. I'll agree with you on Singletary. I will definitely disagree with you on Slayton.
Yeah.
Slayton
Singletary's like
contract.
He's been like your average B running back.
Yeah, he's
for most of his career. Like I'm not like he's definitely top 15 in the league, but I've never thought of him as a top 10.
I'd say he's top 32. I wouldn't even say he's top 15 based on how he played this year.
Especially this year. I'm just saying like overall.
I would say top 20 last year, but I'll say top 32 this year. Like I still think he's a legit running back in this league.
Well, it's meant like through his career.
But look at the success that Tyrone Tracy had. Look at the lack of success that Devin Singletary had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Slayton, like we talked about, that dude's always putting in the work, and he's definitely not your number one guy, but he's a solid, great number two. I like a solid number two.
It's always good. Number twos are solid. Dakota says you guys didn't even want Locke. No, we didn't. We still don't.
Nope.
Shane was a jerk off in Hard Knocks. Yeah, he definitely was. Definitely didn't come off very good in that. That's for sure. Joe 2 times. This is actually the best case scenario. If they fail, we can fire both instead of only one. Plus, wasn't too many good options to replace them with. I don't know why we couldn't. The best case scenario, but we fire both of them. Now, when they've proven they stink. Like, am I crazy here? Like,
no, they gotta go. They gotta go. Let's go.
Gotta go right now. Like, it's gotta go. That's where I'm at. Yeah. You could have gotten both, and you could have. I think you still think you could have gotten better. Kenneth said facts because they set the team back 2 years. That's the facts. They went from high to low. Jeb said, I'm wondering if Deion Sanders really wants his son to play for these guys. Not sure I would. And there's been rumors that this was like something set up basically by Shane and Daboll to go ahead and get Sanders, and that they're tanking on purpose. We'll get to the tanking conversation a little bit here because that's what we're talking about today as well. But there is a rumor going around of that. Hot Take City. Bros, I watch you on Facebook all the time. I appreciate the follow. Boys, keep up the great work. Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Love the logo, by the way. Get the skull with the football and everything. So, Dorothy says, I hope I can get worse every year at my job and they'll keep me around because it makes you feel better. I get worse at my job every day. Dakota says, have a good night, boys. We're not boys, we're goofballs, goddamn.
Yeah. I'm a real goofball.
I'm a real boy. All right, take it, Dakota. Solving the race problem. What type of president is this set for the new regime? All you have to do is 1 year of success and you'll get 4 years guaranteed. Yeah. Not wrong.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dorothy says, Kevin Sattler is a free agent. I hear he's pretty good. Have you guys heard of Will Hernandez? Also the free agent that's way better than the team. Perhaps BJ Hill to shore up the defensive line. Oh my God. Throw these on a roll. Our team is run by idiots. Yeah. Sank Zappa. Is that a Frank Zappa, I'm guessing, thing? Is I keep seeing people say they're glad they're back, but I haven't heard one good reason why. Continuity is not a good reason when you keep getting worse every season. 100%.
When you're a giant poop ball and you keep rolling down the hill and just collecting more poop, that's continuity. Doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Yeah. It's like if I was like, let's say, to step in dog poop, I would not keep the dog poop on my shoe for continuity.
Yeah.
Like I would have well, I need to keep this on my shoe. I stepped in it a week ago. It's continuity. Like at a certain point, you got to go, this is harmful. This is not good. This smells.
Yeah.
Got to go. It's unsanitary.
Or just keep stepping in more poop.
Yeah, well, that's what we keep on doing. We're just keeping adding to the pile. We're not even cleaning the poop up. We're just stepping in more and more poop here. Kenneth Perkins. Yeah, stop spending money. We know it's not going to happen, though, but the first major stand I was speaking of. Yep. Deb says, finish that song. Send in the clowns. Don't bother. They're here. Audrey says, yo, boys, in my opinion, it was a smart decision to keep both. Danny wasn't their choice, even with a huge contract. Honestly, once they gave him the contract, he was their choice.
Yeah.
You could have moved on. You could be like, listen, we got him as far as we can with this first year, probably. Or you could have just said, hey, we're going to tag you. Like, especially if the whole thing was never to pay Saquon, then why not tag Daniel Jones and make him do it a second year?
Yep. Prove us wrong.
And it seems we've been saying with Sam Darnold this year. And Darnold had a whole lot better of a 24 than Daniel Jones ever had as a 22, let's be honest. And we're saying it with him. Prove it. Give a second year. Like I said, to me, the second they gave that contract, they did that. And like I said, we'll respect other people's opinion. I ain't going to knock you for it. That's fine to disagree. I don't see it. And like I said, if you want to say that Daniel Jones wasn't their choice, that's fine. But give us some reasons why you think we should keep them. Again, besides the continuity thing. Because they had 3 years to go get a quarterback. And they didn't. They didn't even bring in legit competition ever for DJ. They could have drafted Penix instead of Nabers. They could have gone ahead and signed a free agent. There's a lot of things they could have done. The Imp says, I'm trying to send a super chat, not taking. And there it is. It says, new here, NTMU. Now, I had to look that up, to be honest with you. I'm old. Rob, do you know what that means? NTMU?
I mean, isn't it a couple things? Nothing much here or something?
Not that much up.
Yeah.
That's according to Google. According to the Google, that's what it means.
The Google AI powered by Gemini.
That's exactly what it is. Actually, was the AI overview at the top of the page there. But appreciate it very much, man. Appreciate you following and appreciate your support there.
I appreciate you hating Shane.
Yeah, well, we don't want to hate necessarily, but yeah, listen. I don't dislike him as a person. I just like him as a GM.
Yeah, exactly. He's eating too many peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
I just don't want to ever cross over to that. Like, we joke around saying this person's a schmuck, this person sucks at their job. Like it's just banter. Like, but yeah, I get it. I hate the job that Joe Shane has done. I'll say it that way. Tommy says, keeping Shane makes me want to keep X. Yeah, it's like a bad X. One that won't go away. Aziki should get Rob Saleh as DC and Davis Webb as OC. Webb has done great with Bo Nix, and the Giants have a great relationship with him. Daboll gave him a letter of recommendation to Sean Payton. Yeah, we've been saying that. Here's the question, though. Why would anybody want to come here? If you are a highly sought-after candidate, let's be very frank, Davis Webb is going to be a highly sought-after candidate because of what he did with Bo Nix. Let's not also forget that he made Russell Wilson work in the Broncos system the year before that. So 2 years of success he had. Let's not also mention the fact that 22 with the best year that Daniel Jones had, a lot of credit was actually given to Davis Webb as like a mentor to him at that point as well. So there's a lot of things that Davis Webb has gotten credit for already on his resume. Why would he want to come to this show when he knows there's a good chance next year he'll be out of a job? Why would Robert Saleh want to come here and next year be out of a job? The only reason I can say Robert Saleh would come here is hoping that halfway through the season he'd be the interim head coach. But you usually get 2 chances at being a head coach in this league.
Yeah, I don't know
if you're lucky. I don't think Robert Saleh wants his second chance with the Giants. I don't.
I won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't blame him.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Mike says, "Hey guys, I don't think I could be a fan anymore after this." Listen,
it's hard.
Don't give it. It's frustrating. I get it. Don't give up the fandom. I'll say this, but you got to go ahead and just, like I said, level back the money part you're spending with the Giants. Don't give John Mara, the Mara family, Steve Tisch, the Tisch family your money right now. They have to learn a lesson. They have to be put in timeout. Go into the corner. Do not get any more money. You have enough.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they will realize it. When they open up the games and the very first game, season opener, whoever it's going to be against, and the stands are freaking empty. Yeah. That's going to really hurt them. That's going to really hurt them. Jordy says, are Shame and A-Hole the poop and Merritt is stepping in them, or is the poop all our GMs in a pile of poop that goes back to late Jerry Reese? Reese's feces asking for a friend. Jerry Reese is still alive. He's not late, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just poop all around. It's just poop all around. Kenneth says there's no reason why to keep, like you guys said, they're winning to worse. Yeah. Mike says, I can't do it anymore, guys. It's a clown show. And Jordy says, why are all disrespecting clowns? Clowns make children laugh, and some are good at their job. It's more like a mime show. No, because they don't do it silently. Ezekiel says, I mean, the only thing Webb has is his relationship with Daboll, but that's the only reason I can think of. But you're right. Nobody should want to come here. Yeah, like I said, I would love Davis Webb to come here if we move on from Kafka. Like, I think practically really got a raw deal here, to be very frank with you guys. But I would love to get Davis Webb here because I have faith that he could probably develop a quarterback. But he didn't want to come here. The only thing I could say that you may get him here is if we do go say point blank, hey, listen, we're getting Sanders, we're getting Ward. This is our plan. We're going to get him. Like, if you can somehow present that and make him believe that's going to happen, he's going to have a chance to develop one of those guys along with maybe a Justin Fields or something like that. Maybe you can convince him. I don't know. Maybe. And it's only, like you said, it's only because of the relationship with Daboll. Solving the race problem. Do you remember talked about Kafka the same way people are talking about Davis Webb now? LOL. I still think Kafka's got a raw deal here. I really do. I don't know what to think of Kafka because 2022, that's the year he was doing the play calling, guys. That's the best year we had offense-wise in the Daboll regime. Not that it's saying much, but we were an average offense with guys that were bagging groceries the week before playing wide receiver.
Yeah. He also called half the plays in 2023.
Yeah, well, not even half. We don't even know what he called because he kept getting a job given, taken away, given, taken away, given, taken away. I don't know. Jay Ferries, none of these coaches are going to come here. That's why we're probably better off with Bozo. And it says Kafka must have a badass agent, worst offense in the league, and he got people thinking he's a hot HC candidate. Yeah, he's got to interview with the Bears. It's
not saying much.
It just tells you also that maybe it's not the Giants. Maybe it's not Kafka. Maybe it's the Giants. Maybe people just think that. Mike says, I don't feel like funding the Plains anymore. Like I said, I don't think you got to. The Plains didn't work. Let's be honest, guys. The Plains did not work. But you know what's going to work? An empty freaking stadium. That's what's going to work. And then Jay Ferry says, feels like we have Kafka in Giants jail hoping for 2 third-round comp picks. Yeah, that very well could be it. I mean, because if he does become a head coach somewhere else, we get the 2 third-round picks because it is considered a minority hire. I think he's Hispanic or something. Is that what it is? I think.
Kafka.
I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was. There was something about that. I remember that. But
Spanish or Kafka? Is that like Middle Eastern?
I don't know. I honestly couldn't care less what nationality is. All I care about is how he is a coach and it's just like I said. I feel like I don't even know still. I don't. Dorothy says if the Giants' defensive playbook more complicated than 4 plays of Tecmo Bowl, I feel like we could get almost any college DC to do a better job than we saw last year. Again, I'm okay with Shane Bowen. I know people aren't always. I am. I don't think it was a very bad job he did considering we were leading the league in sacks. It's what do you want at that point with the people he had? He didn't have a top corner. He didn't have a good defensive line. So, yeah, we had trouble stopping top flight receivers, and we had trouble stopping the run. Problems that we saw going into the season.
Yeah.
Jay says, Kadarius Toney and Drew Lock couldn't figure the offense out. Oh, well. Dorothy says, of course, why would a college coach want to come to have Microsoft services thrown at them by a Ozempic addict that can't run a 7-second 40? Yeah. Jay says he's like Puerto Rican or something.
Puerto
Rican. So, yeah, like I said, I thought so. Jay Ferris, Dolphins coach, says he's black too. I think he actually is. I don't know. I don't care what freaking nationality race people are, to be honest. But it just, yeah. I do think he actually is. I think he's like half black or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mike says, on a positive note, I like how we have pick number 3. We're guaranteed one of the top QBs or Travis Hunter. We're not. I'll say it right now. I'm not so sure if that's the way we go, but we'll get into that a little bit there. Sure, a lot of topics on that going on here. So let's get into the next topic here, guys. So the next thing we got to talk about is John Mara speaking out to the media. And I love the picture of him, like his eyes shut, because it's like him trying to figure
frustration.
Out. Like he's like Helen Kellering his way through the season. Oh my gosh. So here's the quotes he gave to the media. He says, I certainly can't justify it based on the record, but based on my observations, it's my instinct and my strong belief that we are going in the right direction. You got to take a calm, rational look at things. We did that. They're going to have to get better if we're going to move on to year 4. I'm going to have to be in a better mood this time next year than I am right now. Does somebody want to tell him? Like, am I the one to pick that up here? They're going to have to get better if we're going to move on to year 4. You're moving on to year 4. You already told you they're keeping them.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to be mean. Was that a senior moment? Like, what the hell?
You ageist.
Listen, I'm not that far off there myself at this point. My life feels like, but it's like you just said like you're trying to validate, and you're like, I can't justify it by the record. We're going in the right direction. We'll have to get better to get a year 4. You already gave them a year 4. This is year 4 you're going into, and the direction is backwards. And listen. We're gonna do a little Herm Edwards here. You are what your record says you are. We are a 3-14 team.
We're crap.
Yeah, we are not good. We are a team with no quarterback, some overpaid players, no defensive line, an offensive line that looks like the emergency room. A no top flight corner. Like, we're missing a lot, guys. A lot.
Yeah.
For you to sit there and say that's just crazy. Then he says, it better not take too long because I've just about run out of patience. Okay. Hold on. We're going to go camera 1 here.
Yeah, camera 1.
John Mara, listen up here. You just said, I want to keep these people, but they're on very thin ice. You just told every single coach they could possibly want to hire that they're this close to losing their job before the season even begins. Who the hell do you think is going to want to come here now?
Let's just air out all our dirty laundry.
Like, seriously, if you're going to give them the vote of confidence, you say that kind of stuff behind closed doors. You don't say that to the media. For a man who grew up in front of the media, because let's be honest, this man has been speaking to the media pretty much since been diapers since his daddy was running the team.
Yeah.
For a guy who's grown up in the media to say something like that to the media is absolutely ridiculous. It better not take too long because I've just about run out of patience. You just said point blank, they're probably not staying here long unless stuff changes quickly. This is their last chance. So if you want to come here and you want to stay here long term, probably not the best time to come.
No.
We're going to make sweeping changes if things don't change. Yeah. And I'm telling you this right now. If 3 wins isn't enough to run out of patience, what is?
2, 1, 0.
Yeah, like, had we lost that Colts game, would they be gone?
Dude, I think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The most straight losses in franchise history.
Yeah, you're setting franchise records in your 100th season. How much of embarrassment would that be for the 100th season?
Yeah. Oh, we've played football 100 years, and here's our worst season in 100 years.
Yeah. So he was asked by the media after that about how much patience was left specifically, which I got a ballsy question whoever asked it, by the way. But he says, I understand the question, but I'm not going to put any kind of time limit on it. But I certainly understand where you're going with that. You just said to the public, I don't know how long they're going to be here.
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me?
You're kidding me, man.
You can't even sit there and tell the media, which in turn is you telling the fans, I'm going to keep these guys for the year. They get one last shot. You didn't even say that.
Rather die.
You just said, I don't know how much longer they're staying here. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Like, are you freaking kidding me? Absolutely ridiculous. Now, last year, John Mara said a similar statement that he needed to see things go in a more positive direction this year. And he was reminded of that, like I said. And he said, again, if we're standing here, if I'm standing here a year from now and we're having the same conversation, I'll take the heat for it. But we still believe that it's the right decision going forward. Take the heat for it. First off, John, what ramifications do you have? Listen, you messed up. You're losing your job as the owner.
Yeah, right.
Like, what ramifications are there? Now you have to light your cigars with $20 bills instead of hundreds. I mean, like, what is the ramifications here?
Yeah,
I have to go down to the $1,000 bottle of tequila. Like, what is the ramifications here? I don't get this. Like, there's nothing bad that can happen to John Mara in this situation. Extremely rich, making money, stupidly loyal fan base, including us too.
Yeah.
There are no ramifications for this man, except one thing. If Roger Goodell pulls a Pete Rozelle and gives him a George Young and says, you got to straighten this out. This is an embarrassment. The biggest market in the entire league here. But if he hasn't done it for the Jets, he's not going to do it for the Giants. He's going to have to get 2 George Youngs. Like, it's just bad, guys. It's bad. Let's see. Trying to get back here to comments where we're at there. Let's see here.
Cool.
Mike says trade Daboll and pick to Browns for Stefanski. I don't know if Stefanski is the answer here, really, guys. I mean, the Browns aren't doing that good. They're ahead of us. One of the 2 teams that are ahead of us. Oops. So we got, let's see here. Ezekiel, dude, the direction they're going has been backwards. Like WTF is he on? LOL. Exactly. Jay Ferries, you think the Giants cheap out on coaching and staff? Why guys don't develop? Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it boils down to. If you're not developing players and you're not spending money on quality people, then yeah, it's a problem. And it's been a problem for a while. And then Miz says, I terrified Shane gonna reach or get fleeced in draft and spend stupidly in free agency now that Mara threatened them. Yeah, Miz, you're 100% right. Like I said, I'm worried he's gonna go really, really reckless, like we've seen Gettleman do in the past, like we've seen Jerry Reese do in the past. You know, you put an ultimatum on there. Quickest way to turn the franchise around in the short term is to spend like crazy in free agency and hope it works. But we all know how often that actually works. It doesn't work very often. And when it doesn't work for long. You know, Chief says, interesting. A beat writer asked if keeping them was money related. It's got to be. I don't see what else it could be. I really don't. Ezekiel says, all of his statements conflict with each other. LOL. Yes. Miz says, he said that Beckme wanted to satisfy the fans, calm us about bringing them back. Shake my head. One more time, man. I feel like I'm missing something there. But he definitely didn't satisfy the fans, that's for sure. Deb says, Wellington must be rolling over in his grave. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He didn't have great times either. Obviously, you know, those who were around in the 70s can tell you, obviously, that the 70s were a poop show, to put it nicely. And that's why we had the whole George Young taking over there. You know, it's just, yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. Jay says they don't want to back up the truck for Ben Johnson or anyone worth a poop. Just saying, in my humble opinion. No, yeah, they need to. Jay says $18 million for Harbaugh and Sean Payton. Those teams turned around fast. Just saying, yeah. And that's what I've been saying for years. There is no salary cap on coaches. So if you have the option to get a top flight coach in here, a top flight coach that you know is like he's got a track record of turning teams around, you do it. Point blank, you do it. If I was a Giants, I would have fired Daboll and Shane. I would have called up Mike Vrabel immediately. Who do you want to be your GM? How much do you want? Point blank, would have done it. If we're willing to spend $40 million a year on Daniel Jones, you tell me it's not worth spending 20 on a good coach? You got to consider that. Jay says they always say that I understand the question when someone gives them a tough question they want to dodge. Sometimes it's also just waiting a second to develop an answer. That's actually a thing that people will train you in public speaking to. Repeat the question or give a statement like that just to buy you the time to mentally process the question, to think of a good answer. So that's actually a technique that they'll give you in public speaking classes and all. So solving the race problem. The Giants are 9-25 without Kenny Galladay. Do what you want with that information? Or more than that, most years we didn't have Kenny Galladay. Got to go before Kenny too. Jay says we have always had the lowest paid coach in the league for 10 years or more. Yeah, like I said, it's a shame. It really is an absolute shame that this is what the Giants have come down to, guys. Let's talk about another topic here that I know the reporters also asked Mayor about. He was pretty definitive against this. But did the Giants tank? Did they tank? Because I got to tell you, I think they did. Point blank. If you want to look at their season as a whole and the things they did, go back to the last game here. When you started seeing things like Josh Azudu playing guard, for example, things that you see in a preseason game, not a regular season game that you're actually trying to win. You know, look at what they did at the final drive, for example, though, too. Like, they're trying to tie the game up late in the game. Was Malik Nabers in the game? Was Tyrone Tracy Jr. in the game? They were sitting on the sidelines. You're literally trying to winning the game. And you put your two best offensive players on the sidelines. Now, I don't know if they popped it or not at all, I'll say that point blank, but I saw them both in the sidelines. You're telling me at a regular game that you want to win. Now, you don't have Nabers and Tyrone Tracy out there for every single play. Your 2,000-yard guys, that you're going to take them out, and you're not going to play them when you're trying to tie the game that you supposedly want to win. They were definitely tanking. And John Mara was asked about it, and point blank said, it would never happen or his watch. He'd fire everybody immediately if that happened. Careful what you say, because it did happen, and he didn't fire everybody. You got to own up to that. I mean, I get it. You can say point blank that I wouldn't agree with tanking, whatever, say a small statement. Don't take that kind of stance when it was very obvious that they were tanking the game. Very obvious. It's beyond obvious. I mean, hell, they put Eric Gray in the game. Just like I said, I don't mad that he didn't admit it. You can't admit it publicly. But don't take the kind of stances if like you're insulted by the damn question. It's obvious you did it. It's very obvious. So don't take it personal when you ask that kind of question. You got called out. That's what it is. You got called out. So let's talk about Kafka and Bowen, though. We got to ask if they're going to stay. And, it's one of those scenarios now where someone's going to take the fall for the season, I think. Kafka has been quite the scapegoat for Brian Daboll, I feel like, this time here. And not fair at all what's happened to him. I've said it on the show multiple times. He has a good season in 22. Daniel Jones plays his best he ever played with us. We had, like I said, wide receivers coming off practice squads, like Isaiah Hodgins and being, stars in the moment, so to speak. We had so many issues with the roster, it was pretty obvious. But we kept them winning gritty, close games. We go ahead and we get a little bit of a rough patch. A game and a half. We get destroyed by the Cowboys week 1. We're losing to the Cardinals week 2. And then all of a sudden, the play calling changes. Everything goes great. And we find out then that Daboll was actually play calling. And since then, it was give him the ability to play call. Take it away. Give it to him. Take it away. Give it to him. Take it away. And this whole year, he didn't have the ability. And this offense was not good. I can't blame this on Kafka, though. It wasn't his offense. And there were so many puzzling calls, it's not even funny. He should have had the ability to run the offense. But he was got to take it away. Now, we know last year he interviewed for multiple head coaching positions. As we mentioned earlier, he's going to interview this year also. He's going to, at least for the Bears position, they're going to interview him. He might get a job somewhere else as a head coach. Who knows? It depends on, what available options they are. And as he mentioned earlier, he would be a minority hire / interview. So, you got to wonder if that's part of why he gets some of the interviews. I hate to say that. I really do. But, I don't want to take away from what he's done in this league. But let's be honest, you have the worst offense in the league, and you're still getting interviews to be a coach. So, but I don't know what happens with him. I know last year he wanted to interview with the Seattle Seahawks to be their offensive coordinator, and the Giants point blank turned that down. I'm curious to see what happens this year when the head coaching circles go around and all that is done. What happens? Because, one of the things John Mara did say today as well is that he strongly doesn't want Daboll to make the play calls anymore. He wants him to focus on the head coach, the CEO position type of thing, control the team, that kind of stuff, and let their offensive coordinator do the play calling. Like I said, Kafka was a better play caller. We had the most success with him. And if we keep him, he deserves a chance to go ahead and be the play caller again. He really does. As Rob comes back here. So, he should have a chance to get that job back because he never should have lost it to begin with. You know, it should have been treated like a toy you give and take away like that. You know. Oh, you're on mute, Rob. You muted yourself. You got to unmute yourself. There you go.
You lose a few games. You lose a few games, in the 2023 season, and like pretty early on, like they take away his play call.
Yeah, I said it was 6 quarters into the season.
I mean, I know they questioned some of the play call before, but like, I mean, Daboll, like instead of Daboll taking over as the OC while doing the head coach job, like maybe you should have like team meetings, like not even a full team meeting, like a one-on-one with Kafka and go over play call. That's how you're supposed to lead a coach.
People?
Yeah, like actually try to develop. Like, hey, I see what you're doing here, but maybe try this. Like, I understand you're trying to do like some kind of setup where they're not going to see a play coming, but you can't do this play here because this is what's going to happen. This is what you got to watch out for when you do that.
Crazy talk.
It's nuts. Crazy. But you know what's amazing? Is they got just as many wins in the Cavs 1 year as calling the play callers as when he wasn't.
Yeah, like I said, it's
who was wrong.
The whole thing is absolutely crazy. It really is. And then you got Shane Bowen. So as much as Mike Kafka has been, let down by Brian Daboll, Shane Bowen was let down by Joe Schoen. We talked about it before. He got him edge rushers. Okay, he got him Burns. He got him, Thibodeau in the draft beforehand. He had Dexter Lawrence already, so we had a decent setup for a pass rush there. We were leading the league in sacks at one point in the season. Couldn't stop the run because the defensive line was never established, besides Dexter Lawrence. Couldn't stop a receiver because we never got a legit corner in this place. I'm sorry. Signing in the last hour, Adoree Jackson is not solving the freaking problem.
No. Who we let walk away. I mean, great, we got him back for cheaper and probably if we would re-sign him. But there's a reason why we're like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And it's just okay to pick him up again. Just didn't make sense.
To me, the whole scenario, I mean, even like, let's say cutting Nick McLeod. Like, we cut Nick McLeod because we, we're trying to save a couple $100,000. Nick McLeod was one of the better corners we had. That's not to say he's spectacular. He's one of the better corners we had on this roster, though, for outside corner. And he had the versatility because he's played some at safety as well. You can put him in nickel and dime packages and move him around.
Yeah.
Like, that was a guy you don't cut. But we cut him to save a couple $100,000 because of the salary cap issues. So you literally handcuff this man every single chance you got. And then you're like, do what you got to do. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Like we've all had that boss at one point in our life that gives us no support whatsoever. And you call up for advice and help even. And they're like, well, you just figure it out.
You just got to figure it out. Yeah.
That's what I feel like is happening with Shane Bowen and the Giants.
I had a boss like that in a previous job where he literally let his other managers, like his supervisors, just run the show. Like, hey, this is what you got to do. Granted, like, we were like top 5 in the company a lot of times. Yeah. He would give props to us, but he'd be like, be a hard day. He'd be like, yo, man, I need advice. What can I do with this? You just got to figure it out, man. Got to grind.
Yep. That's what I feel like is going on. Like, I know a lot of people, I know it's not a popular take to be a fan of Shane Bowen right now. I know it's not. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, Shane Bowen's defense is bad and blah, blah. I mean, to minimize, like, again, we can have different opinions, but it's like, what do you want him to do with what he had? Like, before all the massive streak of injuries we had, guys, we were an average team as far as giving up points. Now, did we give up a ton of yards? Yes. Did we give up especially a ton of rushing yards? Yes. I could not give 2 damns how much yards we give up. I'm going to tell you that point blank. I do not care how many yards we give up. I cannot stress that enough. I care about how many points we give up. And we were average in how many points we gave up for much of the season until the rash of injuries where I stopped caring as far as where the rankings was because it didn't matter. That wasn't the defense anymore. That was what's left of the defense, if that makes sense. So we're basing an average defense playing alongside the worst offense in the entire league. And yet, for some reason, there's a big part of the fan base that I feel is like, let's get rid of Shane Bowen. That was a bad hire. He was supposed to fix the run. He can't fix the run
without the personnel.
Like, would you give a contractor a big old thing of Play-Doh and tell him to build a house?
No,
that's what I feel like we did here. We're going to blame the guy who can't get it done because he doesn't have the necessary equipment to do it. He doesn't have the tools to do it.
Yeah. I was literally going to say, like, it's like if you work in a restaurant and your Pepsi guy comes in and you ask him to get you a bottle of Chianti, he's just going to look at you like, you have to drink something else.
Yeah. So I do like a good bottle of Chianti.
With a liver and some fava beans.
Okay, Hannibal. I'm just saying, like, you guys, like, you got to keep this in mind. And again, I don't mean to, like, be rude about it, but I feel like there's a little bit of education needed to be in this whole thing, because it doesn't matter how many yards. It doesn't. You can give a running back up 300 yards. If the team scores 14 points and that's it, your defense did the job. Your defense did the job. And it's not your fault that your offense scored 6. You know, let's look at the Falcons game. I'll use that as an example because it was a recent game and I went to it, so I saw it in person there. You literally saw the offense gave up 14 points. The offense almost gave up as many points as the defense. And people were flipping out about the job the defense did that day. I remember people in the post game and stuff like that. I'm in the car driving back to my family's cabin, and I'm hearing people go, "Oh, this defense, they gave up 34 points. This defense can't do it." Are you freaking kidding me?
Did you watch the game?
The 2 pick sixes, that goes against the defense, I see.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like... And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting there harping on this because I'm saying Shane Bowen is the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's not what I'm here to say. But what I'm here to say is we haven't given the man a fair shake. And if you're going to sit there and judge him based on this year, then it's an issue there. You got to give him the tools. You know,
100%. You
can't take the hammer away from the carpenter and wonder why it's not together. That's what you did. So, like I said, I'm wired up today about this too. You can't tell. I'm wired up.
I was gonna say you're
firing
all cylinders.
Yeah.
How's that Mountain Dew?
Had some Fireball. No. Actually, I did have some Winter Jack. So that's it. It's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Listen, I think all Giants fans are drinking today. It's just what it is. It is what it is. So, but yeah, if I had to put money on it, I honestly think both of them will be coming back. And I think both of them will be coming back mostly because of the fact that nobody else is going to want the job. You know, like Deb mentioned that they put feelers out for head coach. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wants that one. They definitely don't want this.
No.
They definitely don't want it. And the only way we lose one is if, let's say, Shane Bowen says, hey, listen, Vrabel's going over to New England. He really wants me to go with them. Would you guys release me? And that does happen in the NFL sometimes. And I could see that as a potential. You know, I could see Mike Kafka also asking to go somewhere as an OC. You know, these guys aren't stupid. They know damn well that it's not good. It's not good. Like when you see yourself lowering by rope into a pot of boiling water, you don't just sit there like a crab and go, do, 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 do. Like, you're like, get me out of this. Get me out.
Yeah, it's like the Titanic is sinking. Do you just stay on the boat or you jump in the life? Sorry, excuse me. Whew, the lifeboat.
You're allergic to Daboll.
I think so. Oh my God. It's Shane. Whew.
But I feel like we're in a scenario where these two both could see that, and we could be stuck with Shea. I don't mean stuck like they're horrible people, but they're not who we obviously wanted to do the job, or they'd have it already. We could have Shea Turney as the offensive coordinator and Jerome Henderson as the defensive coordinator, because we just need to fill these spots. That's a concern. That's an issue.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's give you guys some better news. Probably the best news we can give you all day. We signed some players to reserve deals. Oh my gosh, that's bad. Well, that's the best news we can give you here. So reserve futures deals, Casey Rogers, Ross Blacklock, Jimmy Morrissey, and Brian Hudson, along with the place kicker whose name I can never pronounce correctly. I pull a Rob every time. Jude McAtamney, the kid from Rutgers, originally from Ireland. So at least you know those are names you're going to hear next year in training camp. They're going to be back. They're going to be in camp. They already said point blank, we want to come to camp. The fact that the Giants did that tells you that they saw something they like in these guys. I mean, Casey Rogers didn't provide a lot necessarily, but he did get on the field a little bit towards the end of the season, and they put him on there before he got hurt. So maybe they just see something in him from practice. Obviously we didn't get a ton of chance to see him live in action in the game there. So we'll see what happens with these guys here. But typically the guys that get the reserve deals are bottom level type of people that you don't really expect too much of per se. They're kind of camp bodies to a certain degree. Maybe you put them on a practice squad next year. You just don't want somebody else taking them. So it's not the bottom level. It's like one step above. So
yeah.
Not expecting much out of these guys, but like I said, we're trying to give you some positive news here today. So there's your positivity. We got 5 guys we're going to have on the roster next year, at least for training camp. All right, guys, let's pay the bills real quick, and then we're going to get into, we got a couple sections here real quick to go over with you guys on players and should we or should we not keep them coming up in free agency here, guys.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Alrighty, guys. And of course, you can always support the show also, as you saw earlier in the program there, by doing a super chat. You can also go ahead and support the show by doing stars on Facebook. Or if you want to go the free route, listen, go for it. The free route, of course, is hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, hitting that share button there. We've had 6 people since we started live here that I know we're going to hit the subscribe on YouTube. So appreciate all you all that are doing that. Again, hit the share, hit the like, tell a friend. We suck at marketing, guys. Point blank. We count on you all to help us. And without your help, we're just 2 idiots talking football together, which is fine. We appreciate it if we have more people talking football with us, and appreciate all that are on there, as we have over 80 people right now watching, listening live with us here. So very much appreciated. Let's get into those topics of free agency here, guys, because we do have a couple. Like I said, this is not the year we have a ton of people. Like this is, again, there's no big names. There's no Saquon. There's no Daniel Jones. They don't have like we've had the last couple of years. There's no Xavier McKinney. But there's a couple people that I think are people that we should talk about as, do we want to keep, do we not want to keep? First one we got is, should the Giants re-sign Darius Slayton? And if you all watch the show, you already know where I'm going to be at. Rob, take it away. You already know I'm going to
be. I think 100%. Like, he's the veteran guy in this establishment, in this building. He's the one that's going to give the new players that's going to get signed, the draft class coming in, that mentor leadership coming in with this now same old coaching staff that's new to them that he's been through. Brett, has it been the best time with them? Maybe not. He's also your solid, Robin in this league. Like, he is not your number one. He's been asked to do plenty of number one roles, and he's not that guy. So it's unfair to have a bad taste in your mouth from a job that he was asked to do when he wasn't
shoved into as a 5th round pick.
Yeah, where he should be. For a 5th round pick, the guy that's consistently getting you usually in that 700 yard mark, he's the guy that you really want to stay on because he's not expensive. I mean, granted, like, he's going to cost us a little bit this year. Drew's probably going to go over that. He likes his numbers.
No, I do.
I know you do. That's why I leave him for you. But I honestly think, like, this is a move. It would be silly to get rid of him. Not only what he does on the field in position. I think he's going to have a great year because he's probably going to be your number 3 next year. which means he's going to have a great year.
It was this year. I mean, let's be honest there.
Yeah. So, I mean, you go get your quarterback, and if he's that dude, he's that stud. Malik Nabers is going to get some crazy yards. You're going to have Wandell getting some great yards.
Yep.
And same with Slayton.
Yep. Now, here's what he did this year. Darius Slayton, 16 games overall, 13 starts, 30 receptions, 573 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 59.0 PFF grade.
Which is like his worst.
Yeah, for his career, his average over 17 games is 48 receptions, 720 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now, this year, we talked about this last year as well, and we'll talk about it again this year because I think it needs to be said. This year, Darius Slayton climbed up the all-time receiving yards leaderboard for the Giants. This year, he passed Plexico Burress and Mark Bavaro, 2 of the biggest, well-known, Giants of all time. Like guys that hear people that watched Mark Bavaro 40 years ago talk about how great he is still, and they're not wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like I was a little teeny little boy when he was playing at that point. There, I remember as a little kid watching it, and he was doing things that tight ends just didn't do back then. He was a modern tight end in the 80s. While he was also a very good blocker, a guy that really is held to high regard. Or you got a guy like Plexico Burress, who literally was, the best receiver we had in a Super Bowl run. Probably cost us the second one, but that's a whole different story there. But
he's just shot away.
Now, let's say hypothetically we re-signed him for 1 year. Hypothetically for a second. And his average, like we said, is about 700 yards. That would put him ahead of guys like Sterling Shepard. He needs 200 yards for. Jeremy Shockey, he needs 400 yards for. He's even, if he gets to 700, he'll start getting to Victor Cruz, Ike Hilliard, Hakeem Nicks.
Some really good talent to be caught up with.
Yeah, you're talking some all-time great Giants receivers. That's where we're at here. So, yeah, he deserves a little more credit than we give him. And again, he's had some drop issues in the past. Of the last 2 years, he's really improved in that. I feel like, he's had definitely some issues, as far as being a top flight receiver, which I think people want him to become. But he doesn't have to be a top flight receiver, guys. You can't. Again, we're trying to fit that square peg in that round hole here.
Just jamming it.
He is a valuable piece of any wide receiver room he goes to, whether it's the Giants or somebody else. Now, he's coming off his last contract was 2 years, $12 million. His cap number this past year was $7.95 million. I don't know what he's going to ask for, guys. I don't pretend to know these things. And I feel like every time I guess, I'm wrong because the numbers keep going up and up and up so much. But let's say hypothetically, because they have a little bit of a down year, he got 500 or some odd yards instead of the 700 he usually gets. And there wasn't a lot of people looking for him last time he was a free agent. Let's be very frank on that. There was not a ton of people looking for him. I don't know why people are not high on Darius Slayton as high as they should be.
Because he still has some of the drop issues, but he's worked on that.
Yeah, in those 2 year contracts. So, but let's say because of the fact he had a little bit of a down year this year, that we can get him back for, let's say 3 years, $20 million, something like that. I would do that a heartbeat. Are you kidding me?
Hands down.
Look at the amount of money receivers are getting nowadays, guys.
So even if he asks for 25, or it's kind of pushing for 3 years.
25 would put him 8 1/3 per year. Yeah. But you also figured you'd back it out in this third year, probably be high, and you probably have to take a extension or a cut after 2 years. But again, if you can keep that cap number right around where he was, guys, I'm cool with that. Now, if you started to pay him $15 million, that's absurd. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
He's not that good. We're going to keep it realistic. We're fans of Slayton, but we're going to keep it realistic.
Once you start getting close to 10, he's got these 10's the max. I would say 9, 9.5.
Yeah. And again, it's not because we think he's that great. It's because that's just what wide receivers are going for nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got some wide receivers that are
$30 million. Crazy. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
I was gonna say, like, they're
And,
literally
yeah.
making stupid amount.
And you just never know what's going to happen in free agency until it happens. So we'll have to see what happens. But to me, I want Darius Slayton back, but I want him back at the right price. And I want him back because I want him back for what he does in the locker room. You know, one of the things I don't think the Giants anticipated quite right is the amount of leadership that Saquon Barkley provided in that locker room. Darius Slayton is the guy who provides leadership. Guys, you don't lose a second guy that provides leadership. We don't have much of it. We don't have it from the front office or the ownership. I said it.
Ooh.
I said, let's go ahead and figure it out to keep him here. Let him get higher up the board at that point. Because like I said, if he has another decent year even, he's going to be top 10 in Giants receiving yards. Be a couple more years here at that point. He'll be top 5. Guys, he needs, let's see here, 200. He needs 1,200 yards to be top 5. You give him a 3-year deal, he'll probably hit that, barring any injuries or lost speed because he is a speed-dependent receiver. He'll probably hit that and be a top 5 receiver and pass Joe Morrison. That's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
When you're top 5 or top 10 in any position, in any stat for a 100-year franchise, that's saying something, guys. That's saying something. So, like I said, hopefully we see him there. Next up on our list of should we re-sign is a guy who came off the bench for us this year, and people are like, oh my God, it's going to be so much money now. Then he got hurt, as he always does. Azeez Ojulari. And listen, I like Azeez Ojulari. I was ecstatic when we got Azeez Ojulari. I really was. On the season, 11 games, 5 starts, 8 tackles, 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 10 QB hits, and 1 fumble recovery. He had a 56.4 PFF grade, 54.6 pass rush grade, which I thought was really low for a PFF grade on that, considering how many sacks he got and the limited snaps he got, and a 60.1 run defense grade. His career average, hypothetically, if he played 17 games, would be 40 tackles, 8 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 14 QB hits. Here's the problem. That man never plays 17 games.
No.
Never plays 17 games. He has played 46 games, guys, in 4 seasons, meaning he's literally only played in 68% of the games that he could have during his career. So I don't think there'd be a huge market for him. I really don't. I think his best role is what he had this year, a situational pass rusher.
I think so.
Spot start because of injuries. And I think there's a spot for him there long-term in the NFL because he's proven he can get to the quarterback. He's proven that. He's done it multiple occasions. I remember his rookie. I remember we were talking about how he had you could have said he had a better rookie year than Chase Young. People are like, oh, no, you're crazy. They're crazy. He's not that good. Well, I think we've been proven right there. Because Chase Young's on his, 3rd team now? And I think he's a free agent. I think he's a 1-year deal with New Orleans, too.
I think so.
He moved around because he's not that good. Azeez Ojulari, not great, but he's a good situational pass rusher who's very bad at the run, by the way. If you notice, a lot of the issues we had at the run was during that time frame when Kayvon was out and he was starting. He's not a good run defender. But what he is when you got a passing down, you pop him in there, you pin his ears back, and you go for the goddamn quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
There is a role in the NFL for that. A situational pass rusher, and they get paid. And that's my concern, is that somebody might be desperate for a pass rusher and say, maybe we can get this guy. Hopefully he stays healthy. He provides what we need. We bring him in on these specific downs, but we'll pay him $10, $12 million a year to do it. I don't know. I never know what's going to happen in free agency, guys. No one does. No. It doesn't matter what we think he's worth. It matters what one person thinks he's worth. Now, he's coming off his rookie deal, so obviously it's not that much money. 4 years, $6.775 million. So we'll say 6.8 rounded up. Not a lot of money, obviously, but his cap number this year was 2.155. It's definitely going to go up.
Yeah.
definitely gonna. Now, if we can get him for like $5 million or less, I'm game. I don't know what he's going to be worth in the open market. He's going to hit it unless they do something crazy here the next 2 weeks. But I would want to re-sign him, especially considering how thin our edge room is. Guys, imagine us without having Azeez Ojulari in this roster right now.
Oh,
Your backup edge rushers, what, Boogie Basham and Timon Fox? Is that what we're down to?
sadly.
Like, that's not good, guys. And you don't want to go in desperate for any position. So if you can get a guy like that, pop him in and still look to supplement the edge rush room in the process. There's nothing wrong with signing a guy like this to a 2-year, $10 million deal.
Yeah.
You're not inhibiting any kind of other moves. But what you are doing is shoring up to make sure you're not going to be worse in the edge room next year than when you were last year. So.
Oh, yeah.
One last guy. Greg Van Roden, guys. Should we re-sign him? And this is a guy that we didn't sign till very, very late in the year. Like, we literally did not sign this guy till like the very last minute. He was like a Torrey Jackson kind of signing. Like, training camp's almost over. Let's bring this guy in because we clearly need somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously he worked in the past with Carmen Brasilla, so he went in already knowing the blocking schemes and stuff like that, and you know, it was a seamless fit for him because of that. He ended up playing in 100% of the offensive snaps this year, guys. 17 games, 17 starts. There's not a lot of guys that can do that. You know, and remember we applauded Xavier McKinney and Bobby Okereke for doing that last year. I haven't heard of one person applaud Greg Van Roten for that yet.
Yeah.
We're going to do it right now. We're doing it. We got this. We got this. That's an accomplishment of the NFL, especially for the Giants when everybody else was injured. He was the guy that was out there. For the year, he had a 62.3 PFF grade, 64.9 pass blocking, 62.3 run blocking. Played 1,121 snaps, which ranked 7th overall amongst guards. 7th. That's reliability. That's a value, guys. That is a value. 982 snaps at right guard, 138 at center, and one at left tackle, which I don't remember him playing left tackle, but I guess he played one play at left tackle. Committed 55 penalties. I'm sorry, committed 5 penalties. That's a typo. 5 penalties on the season, and that's all, while playing literally every single snap. Allowed 7 sacks. That's the one downfall. That's ranked 130th of 135 guards. But you got to also keep in mind, some of that is skewed because of the high count of snaps he had. Like, that's not a sack percentage to snap. This is how many sacks you gave up. I'm sure if it was one less, he would go up there. So I'm not going to totally blast him for that. I'm not going to sit there and pretend he was great at it. But I'm not going to sit there and blast him for it either and say it wasn't good. He's overall in his career, 127 career games, 88 starts. Signed for $3 million last year. It was really a 1-year, $2 million, but it turned to $3 million with incentives. Guys, that's a goddamn steal. Steal.
Get him like that again, you resign him.
Seriously, I honestly, considering how long he sat around and considering his age, he's going to turn 35 next season. So he's definitely getting a little long in the tooth. I think that he would take a deal on again with the Harp. Again, same kind of thing. I'd give him like a $5-6 million deal. I'm going to bring in, go again. What I think I'm not going to do is I'm not going to guarantee him to start. I'm going to tell him point blank, we're going to give you every opportunity to start. Because you can't sit there and see he's your only option. Again, he's 35 years old, guys. And it wasn't great. He was great for his availability. And he was okay as far as his play overall. I think it's probably the safe way to put it, right? Okay. Like, not good, not great, but he was okay. He was tolerable.
Pretty okay. Pretty okay.
Yeah. I mean, there were some games he did very good. There's also some games he didn't do very good. So, you know, like most players, you had good days, bad days. But yeah, I would take him in a heartbeat again if we got the chance to get him back for that kind of low number again. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Again, open market. You never know what's going to happen. Or maybe he hated his time here, doesn't want to come back. There's all kinds of variables we're not going to know. You know, and that's just what it is, guys. All right. we got an hour and a half in, guys. Let's see if we can go through some of the comments real quick for a couple minutes, and then we got to head on out of here because Rob and I both have work in the morning.
Oh, yeah, bright and early.
Pesky work thing here.
I don't know if you know this, Drew, but it snowed today. It snowed last night. It was snow when I drove home.
Yeah, it's a snowball's chance in hell the Giants to be good next year, too, but that's a whole separate issue.
So I was up early so I could drive in snow.
Oh, fun.
Right.
I'll tell you this, tomorrow here in Florida. Let me show you the weather here. Is this not good? So when I wake up I start driving to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be 45 degrees. And it's got a high of 56. The next 3 days do not go in the 60s at all.
Oh, no.
You don't know how bad it is. That's like, and it sounds pathetic. It is worse when it's cold here in Florida than it is anywhere else. I'm telling you that for a fact. It is worse because it will go ahead and just that cold here hits you more because it's a humid cold. It's a moist cold, which sounds weird. Like when you're like high humidity heat and just gets you, it's a high humidity cold here too. I'm telling you, it goes right through you. It's bad. So it may be 40, but it's gonna feel like 25.
I also live by water, so
no, it's not the by water thing. You don't, because when you go in the winter, you get chapped lips, you get humidifiers in your home and stuff like that. We don't get that here. It's high humidity the whole year. You guys get high humidity in the summer. It's different. It's different. It's different. So I know you lived in Florida for a while too, but you lived like the north part of Florida. You were like way up there.
And you're talking, it was like 25. That's what it actually was today.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Why would you live there? Anyway, to the comments. To the comments here. Oh, let's see here. Jay says, we got that one already. Hold on. He says, we haven't won a Super Bowl since Ramses Barden left. See, there we go. Ramses Barden, the key to winning Super Bowls. Solving the race problem. Rich Eisen knew they were safe since the Panthers game in Germany. The tank has been rolling. Except that one they messed up. And Miss says, "Sup, brother? What's up, man?"
What's up?
Jay says, so they won the Colts game and lost Cam Ward. Sucks. Well, I'm not so sure they lost the quarterbacks, though. I don't know if it's Cam Ward, but I don't think they wanted Cam Ward. I think they wanted Shador from the get-go, to be honest with you. Clinton says, hey, Drew, how you doing? How you doing, man? And Rob, too.
Yeah.
You're just there for show, Rob. Big Brother Thunder says, I think Kafka is a better play caller than Daboll. Yeah, I think we can safely agree with that one, right?
Yeah.
He also says he did more with less, a worse QB and a worse offensive line. I don't know if it's a worse QB. We have the same QB, but definitely a worse offensive line. Definitely worse receivers. There was no Nabers. There was no Robinson. There was just and Isaiah Hodgins.
Halfway through the year, who was on practice squad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we didn't even have a Theo Johnson who actually, had, if
we did have Bellinger.
Yeah, but Bellinger didn't. I feel like Theo Johnson, I saw some potential to be a good receiver as a tight end. He developed as the season was going on. Bellinger was just an okay receiver that blocked well and was a nice safety net. Theo Johnson, I feel like, has got the potential. He's the guy I'm interested in what he does next year. I feel like he's got some real potential. I really do. Jay says an OC calling plays is tough. Doing that and head coach, F that, just deluding yourself. Exactly. Big Brother Thunder, I think Daboll was desperate, so he took back the play calling. Yeah, I think his ego got the best of him, point blank.
I think so.
He kept going away from the run. Yeah, we had a good running back. That too. It's crazy. Jay says, yeah, well, they thought they were slick with Kafka and Jones in 2022, and the league adapted to them, and they didn't do poop, but the same thing over and over. Yeah, but you wonder if Kafka would have adjusted. Big Brother Thunder, offense couldn't put up any points. The defense held the score in check. Yep. Jay says, Dory took a 90% pay cut. Like that. He says, I heard they did McLeod dirty. Yeah, I mean, they wanted him to take a pay cut, and it was a couple $100,000 you're talking. That's it. I mean, that's it. It's a lot of money to us and obviously to McLeod because he's not the guy making millions and millions. But to the Giants, it's nothing. Like, you could have just reworked a contract and got a couple $100,000 if it was that desperate. And he wouldn't do it. So they just cut him.
Nice.
Like I said, just not right in my mind. Jay says word going around the league that Joe Shame is a clown. Maybe we just call him Joe Shame. I don't know if you meant that as a typo or not, but let's go for it. Joe Shame. Big Brother Thunder says it was a decent bend, but don't break. Exactly. That's what it was. This was a bend, but don't break defense. And I don't think people get that for some reason. Jay says Deontay Banks CB1. LOL. Yeah, he's not a CB1. Big Brother Thunder, when your offense is only putting up 14 points, what do you expect your defense to do? Yeah.
Gas out.
And Jay says Drew cooking tonight. Actually, my wife cooked. No, I'm kidding. I knew what you meant. I appreciate it. Solve for the race problem says you might have convinced me about Shane Bowen. I don't think he gives us any competitive advantage, but I wouldn't mind giving him another year. Oh, look, I convinced one person. I have done my job. That's the show tonight, guys.
Yep. See ya.
As Brandon plays, gives a little clap there. He says run blocking was pretty good. Talking about Greg Van Roten with the clap and that. That sounds weird with the clap. Greg Van Roten does not have the clap for the record. We're not saying that. Mickey says, would you trade for Anthony Richardson? No. That completion percentage is enough to scare me. That completion percentage is lower than some three-pointing percentages in the NBA. I'm good. It's bad.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. That's going to call it a night for us here. Like I said, we're an hour and 37 minutes in, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching very much. Again, as always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Keep in mind, no more game days, so it's just the Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I know you get a little bit less Goofballs now. On, of course, YouTube, Facebook, X/Twitter, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. That is, of course, iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. So if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. Again, we suck at marketing. We count on you all point blank to do it. Very much appreciated in advance, guys. Yeah. Again, thank everybody who signed up during this program. Again, we had 6 people sign up during this. So we've had like over 215 people in the last month or something like that. It's ridiculous, guys. You guys are really showing us a ton of support. We really do appreciate it. I can't say it enough. We'll see you guys again on Wednesday. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. And as always, Giant fans, go man! Wish Daboll and Shane would go to.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.